So how important is it to understand cryptography as a pen tester? Now, this is definitely a topic I haven't really given justice on this channel. I'm surprised I went all this time and hardly covered any kind of material when it comes to cryptography. But first of all, how important is this as a pen tester to understand, and how far in depth do you have to go with this as well? First of all, when it comes to getting a job as a pen tester, there's two things that you really need to concern yourself with. One, of course, is the raw pen testing skill that you have, so developing your technical skills. And number two is being able to market yourself well as a pen tester so that you can, for one, get those job interviews, and then secondly, be able to showcase your value and the raw skill that you already have in order to ultimately land the job, or perhaps in a higher paying job if you're already in the industry. So with that being said, how does that apply to cryptography? Well, the first way it can help you if you understand cryptography is that a lot of times questions relating to cryptography are asked in interviews. This is a lot of people consider this a very core fundamental to being solid in security, not even just as a pen tester, but if you were interviewing for some kind of blue team position, chances are, even if you were going for a more managerial position, they would still ask you questions regarding cryptography. So I would agree as well that it is very important for a pen tester to understand, just from a raw skill standpoint. We'll get to that in a second, but just understand that these are very common questions that can come up during your interviewing process. How far in depth do you need to study in order to succeed on this? For starters, if you're a complete beginner watching this video and you haven't really put any time into learning cryptography, then what I would say is you want to start by understanding the fundamental difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption. Now, of course, before you even do that, understand what cryptography even is, what the goal is with cryptography. But after that, understand the difference between the two, because this is by far the most common kind of interview question that you're going to see come up. So once you've done that, the next thing that I would say is you want to take a look at what are the common algorithms that are used in the modern world today when it comes to both symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption, and understand why those are the standard. Now, you don't have to get lost too far down the rabbit hole. In fact, if you're a beginner, I would recommend not getting too lost down the rabbit hole of understanding mathematically and technically exactly all the details of why it works, but just having a basic rough understanding of what the algorithm is and why it's good is going to go a very long way. Once you've done that, you definitely want to familiarize yourself with some of the older algorithms that were once very widespread in use for a couple reasons. First of all, once again, you may be asked about those in job interviews. And secondly, when you actually start on the job, you might be pen testing against a company that is using these old, outdated algorithms that are vulnerable to attack. So you want to train your brain to be able to recognize them just right off the cuff so that you can report them and they stick out in your mind. When you see them, you know, like, hey, this is something that I should be reporting. And the second reason that you really want to invest some time into learning cryptography prior to applying to a lot of jobs is that cryptography is a useful skill to have when it comes to actually pen testing. Now, for context, let me just tell you, there's about 25 other pen testers on my team. And a couple of those guys, one guy that I can really think about in particular, he really loved cryptography and he went really far down this rabbit hole. He became the specialist when it comes to cryptography. Now, similarly with any area that you find along the journey, if it really interests you, then you can always go even further down the rabbit hole than you need to. But just to keep it to what you need to know to apply to jobs, understand that, hey, if you're dipping your toes in this water, you love it, then this is something you can go really deep into, and it would provide a lot of value as a pen tester. But even still, the raw skill set that this would equate to, if you can learn the foundations of it, are really useful. So like I was mentioning earlier, the first way that you would actually use this on the job is to identify things like weak ciphers, algorithms that they're using, symmetric or asymmetric encryption that they're using that's outdated, that is no longer secure. And of course, the other way is working off of that. If you do see something that they're using that's insecure, then you can try to, depending on what it is, you could try to actually exploit it to decrypt that data. Maybe you end up with some sensitive information on the company. Maybe you get some passwords that gives you further access into other areas within the organization, and you can do some lateral movement or maybe even some privilege escalation from it. So really the opportunities with this are endless. Maybe you're able to use that to break their encryption and then man in the middle the network. You know, it really depends on what you're going after, but all of these things are possible when you have a decent understanding of cryptography. And of course, if you go really deep down the rabbit hole, there's even more and more that you can do with it. Now, of course, if you want to become a pen tester, learning cryptography is just one small step in a series of things that you need to learn all the time on this channel. I talk about the big three, which I consider to be network pen testing, web app pen testing, and Active Directory. If you have a solid handle on all three paired with cryptography, then you're definitely armed with everything you need to know to start applying to jobs. Nothing's stopping you. But with that being said, make this process take a lot of time is the fact that all three of those topics that I just mentioned are really deep. There's a lot you need to know just to even be able to get a job in the field. Now, fortunately for you guys, if you're watching this video when I have recorded it here on August 30th or any time in this week, I have recently released my network pen testing workshop, where I will be showing you guys step by step, no matter what skill level you are, from the ground up, how to learn network pen testing in the most efficient way. In fact, it's going to be so efficient that within only the small span of time of 6 weeks, you're going to be able to go from zero or wherever you're at right now to being fluent enough in network pen testing to where you could start applying to jobs, assuming that you already have some web pen testing and Active Directory pen testing experience. And if you don't have a solid handle on those other skills yet, not to worry either. I'll be giving you guys some guidance after the course ends so that you know what to focus on next in order to achieve your goals. Now, as far as the workshop itself goes, it is completely different than a $20 Udemy course, and this is why. I'm not simply going to be giving you guys assignments, showing you guys some theory, and just sending you off to work on your own, and that's it. Instead, you're going to be able to attend all the calls 100% live. I'll be live with you on the call, explaining the concepts, showing you live demonstrations of me carrying out the various recon strategies and exploits that I teach you. And then as well, I will be giving you access to a complete lab environment where you can apply what you learn instantly and really get hands-on, because pen testing is not something you learn. It's a skill that you acquire. You can't learn it from a textbook. As much as I hate to say, you can't even learn it solely from watching my videos. You got to watch the videos and then take action. That is the key, because this is a skill that you must acquire by doing. So that is exactly what this workshop is focused around, is first learning and then doing, really implementing on the stuff you learn and getting better and better by practicing. And along the way, I'm also going to be teaching you guys how to take the stuff that you've learned from the workshop and best showcase it to market yourself so that you can get more job interviews and ultimately so that you can get the job that you've always been wanting. So if that sounds like a good fit for you right now, or even if you're on the fence, just go ahead and check out the link in the description below to the network pen testing workshop. There's so much more details on that page than I really care to spend in this video. I want to be efficient with everyone's time here. So check that out. And of course, feel free to drop any questions in the comments section if you have them. And I will see you guys right over in the next videos. Thanks for watching.